put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
TGIF, everybody. It is time for open mic. We are loud, live, and local every morning, 6 to 9:30 a.m. right here on FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, HD Radio 101.1-2. You can also watch us on social media. Just go to YouTube, search for Open Mic Live Stream, and there we are. There I am. Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog, sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. There he is. Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect. And there he is, executive producer Kelly Velez, the man we call the smooth operator.
Oh, we're in the building today. TGIF, folks, man. I hope everybody's energy is like high like mine right now, because this is how we're feeling today, okay?
We are feeling good on this Friday. We got some Monkeys tickets we're going to give away later in the show, probably around 7:26 a.m. this morning. I'm predicting we're going to give away those Monkeys tickets. We also have your chance to win $1,000 three times during the show, 7:10 a.m., 8:10 a.m., 9:10 a.m. We want to hear from you, as always, because we are the People Show. We take calls. Give us one, 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. You can also go to our Twitter account and vote on all of our polls that we have up right now. You can text us as well on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. Our open mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. This comes from the great Eleanor Roosevelt, who once said, and I quote, do one thing every day that scares you, end quote. Intellect?
I believe now we are officially doubling back on quotes.
Did we double? We already have that one?
That one sounds quite familiar, but for those that maybe were on vacation or top secret assignment that day.
Must have been a long time ago.
Yeah,
we
well,
had it.
So you run out of quotes. It happens. You've been doing this for quite some time.
I mean, there's so many.
Sometimes I see one that I like and I forget. Yeah, I forget that we used it. Yeah.
Anyway, Mike's at that age. Yeah. I think we've used that one. Bottom line, it means this: get out of your comfort zone.
Boom.
Get out of your comfort zone. Do something that scares you, something that makes you a little nervous, something that you aren't guaranteed to have the result that you know that you'll have.
Double down on that Bitcoin buy, huh? Ooh.
What's it at right now? Hold on before I co-sign that advice.
You want to double down, buy the dip. Is that what you're saying?
Buy the dip. Average down.
I am so mad at I'm so mad at myself that like I'm learning as I go in the stock market, and like one of the first things they tell you.
Yeah, I know. I took some of your stock advice. I'm learning as you go as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, are you not seeing the move there in the small cap sector there, Mike?
ITRM is ITRM has made a little bit of a move, but it's still not.
ONTX has been up like 50% over the last few days. So yeah,
you didn't tell me about that one.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm on this other one that's moving up, and
you only tell me the bad ones like Fubo TV and ITRM.
Fubo will be good in the future. Get in the DeLorean, McFly. Take us to 2035, and we'll break even.
All right. Well, we've got some Tim Tebow. We can finally talk about Tim Tebow again. We'll get to that story as the show progresses. He's officially a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars. By the way, Joe Cowart of 1010 XL up in Jacksonville. He will join us at 8:15 a.m. to talk a little Tebow. Let's start, though. How about my Florida Panthers last night? They were on the brink. They were on the brink of falling into a 3-0 hole against the reigning Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightnings. But what happened? My boy Ryan Lomberg scores on a breakaway with 5:56 left in overtime to cap a furious comeback. My Panthers get it done 6-5 last night against the Lightning to pull within 2-1 in that playoff series. Give me some Ryan Lomberg from last night.
Now up the right side, a chance. Here's Lomberg in a shot. He scores the overtime winner. Ryan Lomberg wins it for the Panthers. 6-5, the final score.
Yeah. So that series now 2-1. How much of that series did you watch last night, Adam? I know you watched. Did you watch the entire game like I did?
Riveted to my set last night. Yes.
Actually, I am sort of rooting for the Lightning. They've been a little down over the years. I'm sorry, I'm rooting for the Panthers. They've been down over the years. The Lightning have been one of the premier franchises in the NHL for quite some time. I'd like to see the Panthers at least make this an interesting series, and they did with that win last night. I'll tell you who I'm really rooting for, though. I'm rooting for Russell Westbrook and the Washington Wizards. They got it done last night with an emphatic 142-115 play-in tournament rout over the visiting Indiana Pacers to clinch the 8th seed in the playoffs. Do we have any rust from last night?
Back to Westbrook, right wing, right elbow, drives, gets the top of the stick, flips in a shot and one. That's pure will and determination, and Westbrook flexes.
I don't say
Determination. Go ahead with the rust clip.
I don't say talk this for my health, but honestly, I just wanted to let the team know that, this season at the time, we were struggling and everybody was doubting us on the outside, and we had to figure out a way to knuckle up and, make the playoffs. Simple as that. I didn't care what happened in the previous games. And moving forward, we had to figure ourselves out, look ourselves in the mirror. I start with myself, and I made it clear to the guys that we will make it.
That was Russ Westbrook talking about the speech he gave his team. I think they were 17-32 at the time. This was back in early April. They were 17-32. It looked like they were going nowhere. They were, 15 games under 500, and Russell Westbrook told them, he predicted, we're going to make the playoffs. So, again, is this going to go down like the Joe Willie Namath guarantee in the Super Bowl? Ooh. No, but still, when you're 17-32 and you predict that you're going to make the playoffs, that's a pretty good prediction. In fact, I think I read this morning that this is the first team to make the playoffs after being 15 games under 500 since the Phoenix Suns of 96,
Wow.
97. So, man, good for the Washington Wizards. They've been a moribund franchise for a lot of years. They're in the playoffs. Bradley Beal, of course, the former Gator, one of the leading scorers in the NBA. He scores 25 last night. Who's not rooting for Russell Westbrook, by the way? Isn't everybody rooting for Russell Westbrook?
I mean, you kind of have to at this point, right? Because number one, that team is so scrappy, and you bring it back to that first playing game against the Celtics. You could tell that energy wasn't there. They weren't getting up and down the court. Ish Smith was the one that was actually scoring for the majority of the game. Then you fast forward to this joint, and then what's my guy's name? Hachimura, their power forward. He dropped like 18, very critical point in their whole offense. Bradley Beal drops 25. Russ almost gets another triple-double. I think he was like 2 rebounds away from a triple-double. But that team is incredible, man.
Yeah, of course, this is as far as they're going to go. They play Philly in the first round of the playoffs. Philadelphia, the number 1 seed. But let me just say this.
Never know.
All the pressure's on Philly, obviously. They've been a good team over the last several years, but they've never made it to the conference finals. Everybody knows the trust the process. They started tanking like a decade ago to get to a point where they could win a championship. Well, guess what? This is the year they should do it. They're the number 1 seed. They have the probable MVP of the league in Joel Embiid. So this is the year Philly should do it. All the pressure is going to be on them. And when you have Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal on your team, you can do some damage. Reardon, can the Wizards get it done against the Sixers?
Yeah, I mean the two guys you just mentioned. What? That's 50 a night right there, right? I mean,
Right?
If they're on,
yeah. I mean, especially Beal. Beal could score. I mean, he can go nuts on you. And then Westbrook's a walking triple double. That guy's going to get somewhere between 15 and 20 points. He's going to give you 12 rebounds, and he's going to give you probably 12 assists. And then you got Beal who can shoot it. So, yeah, no, the pressure is on Philadelphia. And if they stumble...
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if the Wizards upset the Sixers? Oh,
man.
I would love that.
They got Ben Simmons as well, man. Possible Defensive Player of the Year. So it's going to be rough, but I feel like if any team is scrappy enough to do what the Wizards are.
Yeah. Again, I don't even know if Bradley Beal's completely healthy right now. He tweaked his hamstring late in the season, so I don't know if he's 100%. But if he's 100%, they at least have a puncher's chance, as Adam just said. I mean, good Lord, when you have, what is Beal, the second leading scorer in the league, and Westbrook's a walking triple-double. Again, they have a puncher's chance, which means they'll probably lose in 5 or 6. They'll probably lose in 5 or 6. All right, straight ahead, I have a spontaneous text question that has to do with USF announced yesterday that they have plans for full capacity at their football stadium. USF full capacity. Isn't that an oxymoron? We'll get into that next on Open Mic.
Open Mic. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
1. Fly ball to right field. Well hit. Albert Pujols has hit his first home run as a Dodger.
Albert Pujols, after robbing the Angels of $240 million, just stealing it, hits his first home run for the rival Dodgers last night. How many does he have now? 668 career home runs now for Albert Pujols, most among active players, 5th all time. All right, name the 4 ahead of him. Adam Reardon.
Wait, what's the stat again? The full stat? I'm sorry.
5th all time in homers. First active. He's got 668, so he's 5th all time. Name the 4 ahead of him.
The 4 ahead of him are Ruth, Aaron, Bonds, and is it? Oh gosh, is it Mays? It's not Mays, is it? No, it's not Mays. No, I don't know the 4th one.
Is it Sammy Sosa?
Oh, you asked, you posed the question like you had the answer. Yes, Mike. In fact, it is Sammy Sosa. I agree with you.
It is?
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Who is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
No. It's A-Rod.
A-Rod. Okay, of course. Yes.
A-Rod, 696. Yeah.
There we go.
How many is Sammy Sosa? Sammy Sosa has 609. He's 9th. All right, so we've got Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron. Actually, I'm going to put them in the order they should be. Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay,
all right, Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, A-Rod, Pujols, Willie Mays. You were close, 660. Junior King Griffey Jr. 630. Jim Thome 612. And then Sammy Sosa, Frank Robinson, Mark McGwire.
What is okay, Homer?
Yeah. What was that about?
That was just that was because you went. Let me put the guys in the order they belong, and you started.
You mean the guys
order?
You mean the guys who didn't cheat to get theirs? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a boomer take. You don't cheat to get your glory. That's a boomer take. All right. Here's our spontaneous text question item.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
So I was reading this headline yesterday. USF is planning to have full capacity seating for all of its home football games this 2021 season. The university announced the decision that it would allow fans to fill the 65,857 seat Raymond James Stadium for the Bulls' 6 home games. All right. They actually might fill it for their opener against the Gators on September 11th at Raymond James Stadium. But we all know that Raymond James Stadium, for you, if you've ever been to a USF home game, all right, it looks like it looks like the biggest cavernous empty stadium you've ever seen. USF not a good draw, even when they were a really good team. When Jim Leavitt was headbutting players back in the day, they couldn't draw flies. And it all goes back to my theory that teams that cities that have a lot of pro sports aren't very good college football towns. All right. So here's my idea. So USF full capacity. To me, that's an oxymoron. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, they don't do it very often, and it's normally on the back of the opposing team if they do.
Yeah, it would be on the back of the Gators. USF full capacity. Text it to 50857 your funniest oxymoron. All right? Funniest oxymoron. Try to make it sports related if you can. But, just funniest oxymoron. Do you have one, Alan?
Yeah, well, in boxing, I mean, they refer to the ring as the squared circle.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah. The squared circle. The king of the squared circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boxing
I'm-
ring in and of itself is a square. So, I mean, it's not much of a ring, is it?
Right.
Aha.
Yeah. Always like the this isn't a sports related one. I always like the one jumbo shrimp.
Yep.
Jumbo shrimp. Anyway, text those into 50857. How about virtual reality?
Well, it's-
Working
I
vacation.
never thought about that. That is true. It is a very good oxymoron. VR.
Yeah.
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 How-
Yeah, when I was married, and my kids were young, all right, and we would go on vacation. I would always say that oxymoron, family vacation. Not much relaxing going on when you're chasing those kids around.
I felt like I worked a full-time day. Like, what's going on? I'm supposed to be chilling today.
Kids had fun.
Those are one of those vacations that you need a break after the vacation. Need some time
Absolutely.
off.
Yeah, going back to work was the vacation. Sort of like who was it who was Urban Meyer? Remember when Urban Meyer left Florida? He said he wanted to spend more time with the family, all of that stuff.
Yes.
When, wanted to drive the kids to school, and then like a month later, he was working for ESPN.
Yeah.
He
Flying
figured out
to
what we all.
Bristol.
Yeah, he figured out what we all figured out. Driving the kids to school ain't that much fun.
You don't gotta wait. You don't gotta wait in car line very long to realize. Bristol, Connecticut, this time of year seems quite nice.
Listen, I didn't really
Yeah.
understand the significance of that until my fiance and I moved into a new house when COVID first happened, like literally right before everything locked off. And there's a elementary school right down the street from us. And every day around that time, like the 1:30, 2 o'clock, just cars piled, just wrapped around. And I'm like, oh, this is what this is.
Car line.
This is horrible.
Hell on wheels. Car line.
I actually did used to like to take my daughters to school. I didn't like picking them up because the car line seemed to be a lot longer in the afternoon than it was in the morning.
How long you waiting
All right,
for your daughters? How long you waiting for your daughters in that line? Like on average?
In the afternoon, I don't know. I've waited 20 minutes, maybe.
Mike, you want to know why the car line is so long in the afternoon? That's all.
Why?
And Mike will hate this now. It's all these employees that tell their bosses, "Hey, I gotta get out a little early. I gotta go get my kids from school," and they leave like extra early. So they're all there like 45 minutes before school gets out. They've all bumped
Good
off,
point.
bumped out
Good
of work,
point.
30
Yeah, I
minutes
don't like
early,
that.
45
Yeah, I don't like
minutes
that.
early. Sitting there on their phone playing Candy Crush, going, "Got the balls, picking up my kids. Ooh, got an extra life. Woo!"
It's like back in the day, what was it, like Wednesdays were early release for the kids? That's early release when you have kids. Like, I have to go pick them up.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I got to go get my kids. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, text those in. Oxymorons, funniest oxymorons to 50857. Straight ahead, Timothy Richard Tebow. It's official. He's making a comeback. I understand the people who think he's going to fail. I don't understand the people who want him to fail. That's We had banned all Tim Tebow talk until something actually happened with Tebow. We did that late last week. Didn't take long for something to actually happen. Did we do that late last week or early this week? I can't remember.
It was late last week. I'm surprised we didn't bet on it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Well, Tim Tebow now has officially signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Had his first workout during a mini camp type thing yesterday. The first footage of Tebow yesterday, he was seen wearing number 85. Of course, he's going to be a tight end. He appeared a little thicker than normal, bulked up, which is natural considering the position that he's going to be playing. And we all know the stats, all right? Tebow's, what's he going to be, 34 years old in August. He hasn't taken an NFL snap in almost 10 years. He's playing a position he's never played before as he tries to make Urban Meyer's 53-man roster. Quote from Tebow in a statement, "I know it will be a challenge, but it is a challenge I embrace. I am dedicated to taking the direction of our coaching staff and learning from my teammates. I appreciate everyone's support as I embark on this new journey." All right, so obviously there's going to be a lot of critics of this. There have been ever since he tried out for the Jaguars. When that news broke on NFL Draft Night, Greg McElroy, all right, has made some news in recent days. Greg McElroy, former University of Alabama quarterback. He's now an analyst for ESPN. I think he has a show on SiriusXM radio as well, ESPNU channel. He was a teammate of Tebow's briefly when both played for the New York Jets. Tebow didn't play, but he was on the roster. He played a little bit. Greg McElroy said they actually tried Tebow at tight end with the Jets, and it didn't work out very well. Here was Greg McElroy. He was very critical of Tim Tebow and the Jaguars signing Tim Tebow.
Like, everyone says, oh, well, now he's finally doing what he should have done 10 years ago by switching to tight end. Y'all, we were with him in the Jets. I played with they tried to switch him to tight end, and he wasn't good. Like, that's what people don't acknowledge. And they're like, oh, well, they'll just use him as a Taysom Hill player. Tim ran a 4.8. Taysom Hill runs a 4.4. I mean, they're just two totally different players. I mean, Tim is a good dude, and I hope the best for him. But it's a sideshow. And that's what it will be come training camp time. And I think it kind of undercuts and undermines a little bit of what Urban Meyer's trying to build. I'm not saying it doesn't. He might. Maybe he makes the team. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But it's going to take away from the task at hand, which is trying to put together the most competitive roster in camp. And I bet you there's going to be players, and as someone that's gone through training camp with Tim, there are going to be players in there that are rolling their eyes at the amount of attention the fourth string or fifth string tight end gets. And it's going to piss people off. And as a result, it's going to affect locker room chemistry, just like it did with us at the Jets. Not because anyone had any animosity towards Tim. It's had animosity towards the coverage that Tim receives. So that's, okay. I think, going to be...
That's good. All right, so that was Greg McElroy. And I don't disagree with anything Greg McElroy just said there. I really don't. I've gone on record saying I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think Tebow is going to succeed at this. But I sure as hell, I'm rooting for him to succeed. I think it would be an incredible story, and this is what sort of annoys me, all right? Again, I have no problem with what Greg McElroy just said. I agree with most of what he said. I just don't agree with the people who are rooting against Tebow. I've never understood that. I realize he's polarizing because of his immense popularity, and he's like a cult figure to a lot of people. Some people don't like his Christian values. I think a lot of people are rooting against him because of Urban Meyer. First of all, I've said that. But people just like to root against Tim Tebow, and I've never understood that. All he's ever done is good things throughout his career. At special needs kids, building hospitals for in third world countries. He's done all good things, never had any sort of issues as far as criminal issues or any of that. All he's ever been is a great role model. Why do people root against Tim Tebow? Adam Reardon, are you rooting against Tim Tebow?
I don't root against anybody, but I mean, it's funny that we want to throw a shield in front of Tebow and the hate and the criticism he gets, and I look at a guy like LeBron and go, I wonder why people hate on LeBron. You mentioned all the good things he does for society and the kind of role model he's been.
I agree.
But people want to hate on him. This is what they do to people at the top. And here's my biggest issue though with this. If you say that this is a stupid move, this is dumb, this is a publicity stunt, people take that as you're rooting against Tim Tebow. It's sort of like back when we had if you don't support war in this country, like if we go to war and you go, I'm not for this war, people go, what? You don't support the troops? It ain't that I don't support the troops.
What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Huh.
By the way, Greg McElroy's comments there that was the Nadia Comaneci of a take. That was a perfect 10. What he said, because
I agree.
Listen,
I agree.
You may be a fan. People in Jacksonville right now, listening, wherever they're listening, however they're listening from, may be a fan and they want it, and they're Gator fans, and we've seen to what Tim Tebow can do. Let me tell you. Here's a guy who saw with his own eyes in an NFL franchise, 8 years ago?
8 years? Yeah, it was. I think it was 8 years ago.
8 years ago. Try to do what they're asking him to do today. And he says he wasn't good. Mm-hmm. He ran a 4.8 10 years ago. He's not. Yeah. The only comparison to Taysom Hill is, hey, here's a guy that we may line up at tight end. We've seen him throw a football in the NFL, and he's white. That's the Taysom Hill comparison right there. He's not the athlete that Taysom Hill is. And so that's my problem is if you're not saying this will work, oh, my God, Tebow's going to change that law. Oh, my God, he's going to. Then people say you're rooting against him. No, I'm rooting for reality here. And right. I'm rooting for people to be honest and say that this is nothing more than a friend doing another friend a solid. And what I really mostly agree with Greg McElroy is this. If this gets beyond this point here, and let's say that he makes the 53-man roster, and there are players in the locker room. I tweeted this yesterday, and there are players in the locker room that believe he only got that spot, not based on his talent and deserving to be there, but because of his relationship with Urban Meyer, it will have the exact opposite impact in the locker room that people go, oh, think about how great he'll be for the locker room. If people think he's there for the wrong reasons, it will shred that locker room in day number one under Urban Meyer, worse than as bad as a strength and conditioning coach would have done.
Okay. I get everything you said, all right? And again, I agree with Greg McElroy, but let's not underestimate Tim Tebow. Yeah, he doesn't run a 4.40, all right? He's never played tight end before. But guess what? He'd never played Major League Baseball in 10 years, and he still went to Major League Baseball, and
what?
He had some success.
He played in the minors, Mike. He played in the minors. He didn't play in Major League Baseball. I realize he played in the minors,
but that's still professional.
Don't say Major League Baseball. Don't say Major League Baseball.
He played professional baseball. All right. He played professional baseball. And even though he hadn't played baseball since high school, he still hit, what did he hit, like 240 or something in the minors? This guy was one of the best football players in the world at one time.
What?
All right.
What?
He won the Heisman Trophy. He was a #1 draft pick. He was one of the best football players in the world. Don't tell me he can't go in and at least compete.
No,
he can at least compete.
To draw a comparison to your baseball analogy, I mean, you threw the word Major League Baseball in there. If that's false, we all know that.
I meant professional.
So I will grant you this: that Mike, you're right. He was a pretty good college football player, no question about it. One of the great college football players of all time. And do I believe that he could step on the field right now for the Jacksonville Sharks and play? Yes, Mike. Yes, in that minor league. Yes. 10 years after throwing a professional pass.
I'm not saying he can do it. I'm just saying don't be surprised if he surprises you. Don't be surprised. He surprised me when he played professional baseball. I didn't think I thought he'd bat about 7. I thought he'd be below 100 for crying out loud. He actually hit home runs in professional baseball, for crying out loud. So, anyway. All right, go vote on our poll. Are you rooting for or against Tim Tebow? Sounds like Adam Reardon is rooting against Tim Tebow.
I want everybody to be successful, by the way. All people.
I'm rooting for Tim Tebow. Go vote at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. Sounds like Kelly Velez is rooting against Tebow as well, based on his editorial.
By the way, Tim Tebow in 2019, he batted 163. This guy.
163. Yeah.
Like single A. What are you talking about?
Huh? When was that?
That was his last year. He had 239 at bats in 2019. He hit 163.
What was his overall batting average?
223.
223. Much better than I thought.
But not in the majors, Mike. Going against pitchers like straight out of high school.
But again, that's baseball, a sport he hardly ever played. We're talking about football now. We're talking about a man
you know what's funny?
Dominated.
He said it's a sport. After he had played longer, in 2019, his last year, so he had some years underneath his belt. He got worse. 163. That's worse than his real average.
I was right there during the pandemic.
COVID, right? I get you.
Yeah. All right. Right around the corner, the coach of the Atlanta Hawks gets fined by the NBA for stating the obvious. Jordan just glossed over Tim Tebow, hitting 273 in AA ball with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies
Here we go.
back in 2018.
Wait, what is the team's name?
AA. I think they were called the Rumble Ponies, weren't they?
What is that?
I have no idea. I think it might be one of the like those merry-go-round ponies. Is that what a Rumble Pony is? I don't know. Yeah.
There are Pop Warner football teams with better like names than that. The Rumble Ponies?
I think that's, if I recall, that's what their name was. I may have been correct. I may be wrong on that, but I think it was the Rumble Ponies. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can text us, 50857. You can tweet us at 969 The Game. Your first chance at $1,000. That's coming up at 7:10 a.m. this morning in just a few minutes. Make an appointment. Then we do it at 8:10 a.m., 9:10 a.m., and then on throughout the day. Compliments of International Diamond Center. We call it our game day payday. Anybody watch any of the PGA Championship yesterday at Kiowa Island in South Carolina, the Ocean Course? I don't think any of us picked Corey Connors to win. He took the first round lead, 5 under 67. He leads by 2 shots over 6 other players, including Brooks Koepka, who's won the PGA Championship. Has he won it? I think Brooks Koepka won it twice. Hasn't he won the PGA Championship twice? Phil Mickelson had 4 bogeys through 6 holes, but he settled down after that. He's in a large group at 70. So he's only 3 shots off the pace. But Dustin Johnson, my God, what's happened to him? He shot a 76 yesterday. Number 1 player in the world shoots a 76. He's in jeopardy of missing the cut in consecutive majors for the first time of his career. He missed the cut at the Masters. Now he might miss the cut at the PGA Championship. Rory McIlroy may miss the cut. Justin Thomas may miss the cut. Jordan Spieth, he shot a 73 yesterday, so he'll probably make the cut. But did anybody see John Daly yesterday? Anybody see John Daly? Go Google image John Daly yesterday. I'm telling you, he looks exactly like Santa Claus now.
It's quite the sight.
You know,
it's quite the sight.
I mean, he's got this long gray beard. He's obviously John Daly, which means he's a little chubby, all right? And he's got the rosy cheeks for obvious reasons, all right? The guy looks like Tim Allen when Tim Allen started making the metamorphosis to Santa Claus during the what was the name of that movie? Was it Santa Claus?
Yeah, I think it was literally called Santa Claus.
Or The Santa Claus or something like that. Yeah, that's exactly what John Daly looks like. Adam Burton, Google image it. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, he was already halfway to the Santa body anyhow, so.
Yeah, but now he's got this
Mike,
long gray beard.
The way that you describe it is perfect, too. It's not all the way Santa. It's when Tim Allen is literally turning into Santa. So you still see a little bit of Tim Allen in there, but you got the beard. It's not too long, but it's long. The hair is the same color as the beard. Oh, man.
I just more pictured Dan Aykroyd walking through that party with the Santa suit on, like half. Well, not even half.
With the smoked salmon stuff.
Just fully
got the smoked salmon. Yeah, he's got the smoked salmon from the Christmas party stuck in his Santa suit. Yeah, trying to steal it. Anyway, we do have a supplemental poll up about John Daly looking like Tim Allen in the Christmas movie. All right, I wanted to get to this story. All right, so the NBA yesterday, Kelly Velez is going to love this, being the Knicks fan that he is. The NBA fined Atlanta Hawks coach Nate McMillan $25,000, all right, which, again, is a drop in the bucket for NBA coaches, all right? But he still got fined on Thursday for making comments that were true. He made comments that were true, but the NCAA fined him because they said he was asserting bias.
NBA, the NBA fined him.
Yeah, the NBA fined him for, quote, asserting bias by the NBA relating to the 2021 playoffs. he asserted bias because there is bias. Here's what Nate McMillan said that got him fined.
The league wants this. They need this. A New York, this is a big market. And it's a big market for the league. And New York has been out of the playoffs for a number of years. And, this is a team that our league, they want to see. There's a huge fan base. They want to see New York in the playoffs. They want to see the Lakers in the playoffs. Teams like that, Boston Celtics, they want to see these teams in the playoffs. And I put New York in that category, that the league wants to see it. Everybody wants to see this, even to the fact that, our game was moved to Sunday. They want to see this.
Okay, so that was Nate McMillan saying, hey, we're playing the Knicks in the playoffs, and the NBA wants to see the Knicks in the playoffs. What's the issue with that? Of course they want to see the Knicks in the playoffs.
I feel like it's still like a backhanded situation there where he's like, yeah, of course, the NBA, everybody wants New York to be in there. So certain things are going to happen in order for them to get
It
there.
behooves the NBA for the Knicks to get all the calls so that they continue to stay in the playoffs, like teams like LA and.
Well, he
teams
actually did. He actually did say that. Too.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
He also said that that there's going to be a lot of calls that probably won't go our way.
That's your $25,000 comment right there. It wasn't the fact that we can all agree that, hey, listen, the league really wants the large metropolitan area. We do this every year, like with the Super Bowl. You know what the best matchup would be for the NFL? Not Green Bay. Okay, Green Bay. They don't want Green Bay in there. They'd love to have like the Rams and the Giants in the Super Bowl. Not that could happen, but you catch my drift. They want the LA and the New York markets in the mix. Yes, that's the best for the league.
Okay, but every coach probably says, hey, there's probably going to be some calls that don't go our way. We have to overcome that.
You can't say it. It alludes to something, Mike. You can't say that in the public.
Yeah, it alludes to the fact that the league probably will collude to get the Knicks into the second round of the playoffs. That's what it alludes to. Just like the league fixed it where the Knicks got Patrick Ewing in the lottery decades ago. I
think it would really hurt Nate McMillan was after his comments and the NBA looked up, there was like Tim Donaghy going, yeah, man, he ain't lying. He ain't lying. They will.
Listen, I've been there. Trust me.
He ain't lying. You ain't going to get some calls. I can promise you this.
It hasn't changed much.
Anyway, I just think it's laughable that what's the old Shakespeare quote? Methinks thou doth protest too much.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the NBA is protesting a little too much.
I'm starting to learn a lot about Mike as the weeks go on.
Yeah,
He asked why extortion was illegal. He's asking why these comments are not right to say in the public.
Yeah,
I like that, Mike. I see what you're doing.
Yeah. The truth is the truth. So, all right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. We are football. We are FM 96.9, The Game.
Okay, so I wrote a column in the Orlando Sentinel. You can read that column right now at orlandosentinel.com if you want. All right, and it was based on something we were talking about yesterday on the show. And one of the reasons I love doing the radio show, as well as being a sports columnist at the Orlando Sentinel, sometimes when we talk about things on the radio show, I go, man, that'd make a good column. Make a good column idea. Adam Reardon will come up with a great concept, and I'll just steal it and write a column about it. It again, makes my job easier. So we're talking about the SEC yesterday, obviously, the Southeastern Conference, announcing that they were going to give each of its 14 members an extra $23 million to sort of help mitigate the massive financial impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. We talked about it yesterday. The SEC is financing this $322 million distribution through future earnings on a lucrative media rights deal with ESPN that begins, I think we said yesterday, it begins in 2024. So they're essentially borrowing against this billion-dollar media deal that they're signing with ESPN. And essentially what this means is the Gators are going to get $23 million. They're essentially getting a $23 million stimulus check from the SEC to help cover the cost of the expected. I think the Gators are expected to have $60 million in lost revenue from last fall when ticket sales and booster contributions plunged due to the pandemic. All right. So this is the SEC saying, hey, maybe this $23 million will help tide you guys over. All right. And as Adam said yesterday, Vanderbilt probably didn't even have any losses last year. They're just getting this $23 million to put in their coffers. All right. All right. So here's the gist of my column. All right. So Adam, would you agree that all right, let's use FSU as an example. All right. Mm-hmm. Would you agree that when FSU athletics director David Coburn, when he saw that the Gators were getting a $23 million stimulus check from the SEC, do you think maybe he almost immediately got on the horn to ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips and said, hey, bro, we were broke before the pandemic. Now we're really broke. When do we get our stimmy check? Do you think that's happening throughout college football now? Because I do. I think the SEC has put the pressure on the other conferences to essentially help their members financially recover from the pandemic. And again, maybe the other schools already had plans to help their members, but if they didn't, you better believe they do now. You better believe they do now, because I think every conferences or every school in the Power Five is looking at what the SEC did and said, hey, we need help too.
So yes, I definitely believe that conversation will have been had between between athletic directors and then the commissioner of the league, and then I would love to really pull the layers back on the onion on how this happened. So the SEC says, listen, we're going to give $23 million, which is essentially half of a year's sports revenue package, right?
TV money deal.
TV money deal.
Half of the TV money deal.
And now they basically mortgaged that, or they're expecting a new deal here in the future, blah, 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 blah.
Well, they have a new deal, but it doesn't start until 2024.
So my wonder here is that, say with the new deal, right, you would have gotten, each school would have gotten $65 million. So over the next 5 years, instead of $65 million, are those schools going to get $60 million until the 23 is paid back to the league? So it's basically a loan.
So.
Okay, so
yeah, it's a loan.
Then this isn't just, hey, we're giving you $23 million out of the thin air. Yeah. You're going to have to pay this money back over the long run by taking less in the future. Could every single conference accomplish that? I believe the answer is yes. But it obviously won't have a $23 million price tag to it. The ACC, I want to say, what are those schools getting? $30 million, 35, something like that a year?
I think about 30, maybe.
Yeah, 30. So could the ACC do it in, with a $15 million per school? Basically half of what 1 year would have been. I'm sure that there's smart enough people around there to figure out a way to lessen the blow of the loss. But now is every conference going to be able to say, hey, there's $23 million? No, that definitely isn't going to happen. But the math would have to make sense for your conference. But I do think there can be some relief, and that would be played against future monies you would have earned with television contracts and their expected growth.
It's just amazing. Again, and I grew up on the SEC, so I'm sort of an SEC. I'm an SEC snob. I'm an SEC fan. I'll admit that. All right. When I was growing up, SEC football, again, that was the only conference in the state of Florida. Florida State wasn't in a league back then. Miami wasn't in a league back then. When I was growing up, they were both independent. And Florida was in the SEC. So we grew up following SEC football, and I became an SEC football fan. But it's amazing, even though I am a fan, and I admit that, just the SEC's dominance in college football. I did some research when I was writing this column. All right, and we all know how ACC fans and other conferences, they get annoyed with the SEC's mantra. It just means more. I mean, obviously it's egotistical. It just means more, but it's true. Everything in there's more fans, there's more money, there's more national championships, there's more great players, there's more passion. All right, so SEC, I did some research. NFL draft broke its own record with 65 players taken during the NFL draft, all right? SEC has had the most players drafted into the NFL for 15 straight seasons. 15 straight.
Wow.
15 straight seasons, the SEC. Yeah. Overall football attendance and average football attendance. SEC's led the country for, you want to take a guess how many straight years?
25.
20.
22. 22 straight years. Average attendance and overall attendance. SEC teams have played in the national championship game 14 of the last 15 years and won 11 of them. So 11 of the last 15 national championships they've won. How much money does the league pour into its product? USA Today does this thing every year where they get all the financial figures from all the public schools, like Miami's not included because they're a private school, but most of the schools are public. SEC schools, 5 of the top 10 athletic budgets in the nation, 10 of the top 20 athletic budgets in the nation in the SEC. You know who has the top athletic budget in the country?
I think Texas.
Well, you're half right. Texas A&M. Texas A&M has surpassed Texas as the top. I think Texas is number 2. Texas had traditionally been number 1, but Texas A&M has surpassed Texas now. 6 of the top 10 highest paid coaches in college football reside in the SEC. Again, it's just amazing the athletic conglomerate that the SEC is. It is.
The SEC is the mall of millennia. Everything else is like this mall down the street for me in like Sanford.
It's like the West Oaks Mall. It's like the West Oaks Mall.
All the other malls in this state. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's there is the mall of millennia. You walk in there and the air condition feels like it's pumping real good. And like, is that a Gucci store? That's Texas A&M over there. Oh my God, what Burberry? Oh my God, look at Georgia over there. And then I'm over there shopping like
you're at the Dollar General in the strip mall.
hey, I'm gonna swing by NC State right now. You want anything? I got $5.
Hey, the Dollar General, everything in there is $1. Can you believe it? It's great. Again, so the SEC putting the pressure on the other conferences once again with their $23 million STEMI checks to each school. They're really not STEMI checks because you do have to pay them back, but for the sake of COVID, since we're in the pandemic, we'll call them STEMI checks. All right. We had a supplemental poll on this topic, did we not?
Yeah, was it that do you think other conferences will have to follow suit now to sort of keep up?
Yeah, now that the SEC has given each of its teams a $23 million COVID stimulus check, are the other conferences going to be pressured into following suit? You can go vote at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. You can vote yes or you can vote no. We also have some other polls as well that you can vote on. Right now, though, we got the sound off coming your way, but we want to give you a chance right now to win $1,000. That is the Sound Off, brought to you by, how about the PGA Championship? It's going on right now, but you can catch Sunday's final round hole-by-hole coverage right here on FM 96.9, The Game, AM 740, starting at 1 p.m. What do we have, Kelly Velez?
If he wants to play, hello. So, ladies and gentlemen, sound off, sound off.
Sound off.
There we go.
Tony La Russa's out of touch with the game because he should not be managing one of the best teams in the American League, period. The fact that Tim Anderson, basically the captain of their team, had to go on Instagram and step up for his teammate, like, yeah, the game wasn't over. If you're going to put a position player in there to pitch, guess what? If he's going to lob over the plate, we're going to
CC Sabathia talking very spicy to Tony La Russa after his recent comments after, what was it, a center fielder was thrown into the pitching mound. He just lofted it over and he knocked it out the park.
Yeah, it was actually an infielder who was in it pitching. Yeah, the White Sox were leading 15-4. It was the ninth inning. It was a 3-0 pitch, and he lobbed like a 47-mile-per-hour pitch over the plate, and Mercedes just clobbered the ball and hit a home run. And it's created a debate about, unwritten rules in baseball, and a lot of baseball players are coming to Mercedes. You remember Mercedes' defense on this? Tony La Russa said that his own player was clueless the other day when he did it, and he said, hey, I'm going to sit him down and talk to him about, being more classy and all of that. So it's created quite the debate in Major League Baseball. And again, these unwritten rules in Major League Baseball are in many ways ridiculous. All right, the other unwritten rule here is Twins reliever Tyler Duffy was suspended Thursday for 3 games for throwing a pitch behind Mercedes for what Mercedes did. Mm-hmm. All right? So, again, these unwritten rules are ridiculous. If you're up at the plate and somebody lobs a pitch to you, I have no problem. I don't care how far ahead you are. I have no problem with him hitting a home run, for crying out loud. A lot of the Major League Baseball players are saying, hey, put a real pitcher in there then. Don't put an infielder in to pitch in Major League Baseball. So I agree with Sabathia there. I really do.
And don't saddle me with some incentive-laden contract, because if you're going to throw something 40 miles an hour, I'm putting it over the fence. That may be the one gets me. That may be the one that gets me to my bonus at the end of the year.
Hello.
And plus one.
Now go, Mike.
Plus, one of the players, I don't remember which player it was, said, hey, do you know how hard it is to hit a 47-mile-per-hour pitch out of the park? It's pretty hard.
You can get that bat speed up.
Right?
Oh, yeah, that's the plan. I mean, I don't have any plans on retiring. It's just, when do I not want to go back to work? When I'm not excited about going back to work, then I'm cheating somebody. I'm cheating the Glazier family. I'm cheating my players. Right now, I can't wait to go back to work. So, I don't know when that's going to happen, but no, I'm not tied to any players.
Bruce Arians says he's here to stay, Adam. He's like, I'm not tied to any players. Like, I want to get back. I'm here to stay.
Is he talking about Tom Brady there? Somebody
must ask, yeah.
Yeah.
If like, hey, when Tom leaves, are you leaving? I will say this about guys that win with these quarterbacks, and people start, heaping so much praise on them. You go, well, wait a minute, I'm drawing up the plays. I'm the head coach. I know another coach that had Tom Brady at one point that sort of wanted to prove, hey, I'm the secret sauce around here, and so was willing to let Tom Brady go. I believe him when he says, like, if Tom retires in the next year, he's going to still coach because he wants to prove that
absolutely
he's the secret sauce.
Well, he is. He's going to be. Isn't he going to be 70 next season? So he's going to be 70 years old.
Well,
Mike,
I think you're underestimating Bruce Arians.
70's the new 50. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, he could just line up at tight end if he feels like. He's not played in the league for a while.
What's usually the cutoff age for like a head coach, guys? What do you think?
I thought he used to be 70.
Like 70?
Yeah. Hell, Marv Levy back in the day with the Bills, didn't he coach into his 80s? Yeah, but I would think in the mid 60s maybe.
Yeah, but guys in their 70s don't even look like they're in their 70s. Bruce Arians doesn't look like a guy in his 70s.
Well,
he doesn't sound like it either.
His goatee is wider than John Daly's, for crying out loud. Yeah. Need to put some Just for Men on that goatee, Bruce.
Back to Westbrook, right wing, right elbow, drives, gets the top of the stick guard, flips in a shot and one. That's pure will and determination, and Westbrook flexes.
I don't talk just for my health, but honestly, I just wanted to let the team know that, this season, at the time, we were struggling and everybody was doubting us on the outside, and we had to figure out a way to knuckle up and, make the playoffs. Simple as that. I didn't care what happened in the previous games. And moving forward, we had to figure ourselves out, look ourselves in the mirror. I started with myself, and I made it clear to the guys that we will make it.
Russell Westbrook having a conversation post-game about 2 months ago, talking about they will make the playoffs. Fast forward to now, they made it through the play and going into the playoffs, Mike.
Yeah, and again, I mentioned this earlier, but Joe Namath gets a lot of credit for guaranteeing that the that the Jets were going to win the Super Bowl over the heavily favored Colts back in the day, all right? What about Russell Westbrook? And I realize this won't get the recognition that Joe Namath got back in the day, but what about Russell Westbrook? This is actually a more daring prediction, if you ask me. The Wizards were 17-32 at the time that he sat his teammates down in the locker room and said, we're going to make the playoffs. Isn't that more impressive than Joe Willie Namath predicting a Super Bowl victory? Isn't it?
And also if you factor in Joe was probably drunk at the time he said it, so he was just throwing stuff out there.
I got to tell you, if there's any player, and again, I don't really have a rooting interest in these NBA playoffs except for rooting against the Lakers. All right, that's my only rooting interest. But if I were going to pick one team who I wish would win the playoffs, I think it would be the Wizards, simply because of Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, for that matter, the former Gator. I don't think Bradley Beal gets nearly enough credit for being the great player that he is. I mean, he's always one of the NBA's leading scorers. He didn't even make the All-Star game. Was it last year where he didn't even make the All-Star game? I would love to see the Wizards actually make a run in the playoffs. I'm rooting for them. They're my team, the Wiz.
Sound off. Duz and Smooth pretty much got on our ass at halftime. Smooth is Keith Morris, if you don't know who Smooth is, but they got on us, just told us that, we got to pick it up. They brought the fight to our building, and we got to bring it right back. And when guys like that, speak, you listen. We took it to heart. We didn't take it personal. We just took it with us, and we improved our effort in the second half.
The Lakers weren't doing too well in that playing game against Golden State, so he's saying that Markieff Morris had a conversation with everybody in the locker room that they got to get everything together. They came back out with all the energy they needed and actually won and are now in the playoffs. Adam, do you think they can continue this momentum and make it deep in the Western Conference?
Yes, and they have LeBron James and they have Anthony Davis. And
he's not 100%.
Watch out for the Phoenix Suns. Watch out for the Sunnies. Okay,
I think for the first time ever, a 7 seed is favored over a 2 seed in NBA playoffs, according to the wise guys out in Las Vegas. So, listen, here's the thing I know about LeBron James in the NBA playoffs. He's going to the finals at the very least, okay? That we know. All right, he's going to the finals. And if Anthony Davis, can play better and kind of maybe get healthier, even though he's going to be playing a lot, then yes, I mean they've already proven they've got enough to win an NBA title on that team.
How many straight years has LeBron been in the finals?
Well, he missed
like 28.
Yeah, but he missed. Remember he missed the year when he got injured, and he missed 1 year.
Was it last year? The year before?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
But I mean, it's like 10 out of 11. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
He had like 8 straight at one point. I know that.
Yep.
So anyway,
sound off. That's the sound off for today, ladies and gentlemen, which means That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to give away some tickets, folks. Okay, so we're switching it up a little bit today, okay? We have the Encore Drive-In Night Concert. A ticket is good for up to 6 people. You have to understand that it presents Bon Jovi Saturday, May 22nd, 2021, of course. The winner will select from 1 to 3 epic theater locations in Claremont, Deltona, or Ocala for you to watch Bon Jovi perform. Once again, this is a live concert viewing at a drive-in theater, not an actual live show. If you're trying to win these tickets, give us a call right now, 407-916-8255. You'll hear my voice, and then I got you. Now, Mike, let them know what's coming up next.
What's coming up? There's one sports figure out there who's very upset that athletes aren't getting vaccinated at a high enough rate. I'll explain next on Open Mic. Open
50-857.
Now up the right side, a chance. Here's Lomberg in a shot. He scores the overtime winner. Ryan Lomberg wins it for the Panthers. 6-5, the final score.
I was listening to something. Did we play the clip?
Of course, Mike. Where were you?
I was listening to something on my computer.
Oh,
This is
see?
amazing.
Listen, you have
Didn't
a
get
morning
the-
show to run, okay?
Yeah.
I need
play,
you here.
Play it one more time. I want to hear my Panthers clip. Play
Right
it one
side, a
more time.
chance. Here's Lomberg in a shot. He scores the overtime winner. Ryan Lomberg wins it for the Panthers. 6-5, the final score.
Ryan Lomberg getting it done for the Florida Panthers last night. They were on the verge of falling behind 3-0 in their playoff series with state rival, the Tampa Bay Lightning. But Romberg scores, 5:56 into overtime last night as the Panthers rally to beat the Lightning 6-5. They now close to 2-1 in that best of 7 series. Yeah, one of the things I was doing during the break, I'm on Facebook, obviously. Facebook has its news feed, right? And somehow Adam, you probably know how this works, and Kelly, you as well. So they mold stories to, they send you the stories that they know that you'll be interested in, right? Don't they have algorithms to figure that out?
Yeah.
Related on what you've clicked before, what you interact with, right?
So anyway, and usually a lot of the stories on the Facebook feed are they're a little bit sensational, all right? They're sort of clickbait type headlines, all right? But I was reading this one. So this headline says, Kobe Bryant wouldn't go to dinner without saving seats for his alter ego. All right. Did you guys see this story?
I haven't, but it sounds
okay.
fantastic.
So Kobe Bryant. This is according to Kobe's ex-trainer on one of these podcasts. When Kobe would go to dinner, all right, he would always have an extra seat
for the Black Mamba.
For the Black Mamba, exactly. He would have an extra seat at dinner for the Black Mamba, and this trainer said, yeah. People, it'd be at a crowded restaurant or something, and somebody want to come, hey, can we use this chair? And Kobe goes, somebody's sitting in that chair. and yeah, he would save a seat for the Black Mamba. In fact, this trainer, I don't have his name in front of me, but this trainer said he would even order a drink for the Black Mamba at dinner. All right? So this trainer says as he's getting up, as they're getting up to leave, this I guess Kobe ordered some shot of expensive tequila for the Black Mamba. What is that, Patron? Is that the expensive tequila?
It's one of those.
One of those, yeah.
Anyway, so the trainer gets up to leave with Kobe, and as Kobe's walking out, the trainer reaches back and drinks the tequila real quick because he didn't want to leave, this expensive tequila on the table for the Black Mamba. Yeah. So anyway,
You remember the football coach Jerry Glanville, right? You remember him?
Oh yeah.
And how he used to leave tickets for Elvis Presley at every single game.
Elvis. Yeah,
Like
he
at
would
roll
leave
call?
tickets for all. Yeah, he'd leave tickets for like all sorts of people, Elvis,
Jimi
and,
Hendrix.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But listen, Kobe, I understand because you have to separate the man from the machine. You remember that commercial with him and Kanye? It's like he's a different animal but the same beast. So you have to separate the two in order to keep yourself sane. Now, my question is, to tie it in what we've been talking about, like what was it, yesterday or the day before? Is the Black Mamba a good tipper? That's the only thing that I want to know.
Well, he probably didn't feel the necessity. No, Black Mamba probably didn't tip because he didn't even drink his drink. He always just left it there. Now, Kobe was probably a decent tipper.
Imagine Kobe comes in by himself. He's like, yeah, table for two, please. And he goes in, eats.
That's what he does. That's what he would do, according to this trainer. He'd always have an extra chair, sometimes an extra 2 chairs Yeah.
Listen, a lot of people need more than that for how big their egos are. I'll tell you that
Oh
much.
my gosh.
Maybe I should start doing that.
Table for two, please. Mike Bianchi and then the Bulldog.
The Bulldog.
Is that a service dog, sir? Because we don't just allow pets in here. No. I'm not that. My alter ego's the bull. Just give me a table for two, will you?
As soon as you walk in, Mike. As soon as you walk in, it's just like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Adam Reardon. He has a extra seat for the deceptive intellect right there. Yeah. So they can have a nice intellectual conversation during dinner. Yeah.
Nice quiet evening. Just me and the deceptive intellect.
What would the deceptive intellect be saying? Kelly, do you have that? What would he be saying at dinner? Do you have that?
Sum of the square roots of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side.
That's funny.
Anyway,
that's my Trina's grandfather keeps telling Trina's mother, like, you know, that Adam's pretty smart. He's a really smart guy. He's got a great vocabulary.
Yeah, you are. You're a smart guy.
Deceptively.
That's why I gave you the nickname. I mean, you would think, being from Ocala, you know, growing up, you know, in a broken home, sort of like I did. You know,
I had to get my Ged.
My Ged?
Yeah,
my
Ged. Absolutely. Real quick, I wanted to get to this story. All right, so Chicago Cubs president Jed Hoyer, all right, says he's, quote, really disappointed that his team isn't likely to reach the 85% vaccination threshold that leads to reduced COVID-19 regulations of Major League Baseball. And there are a number of teams throughout professional sports who are a little disappointed that their athletes aren't getting vaccinated at a high enough rate where they don't have to essentially go through all the COVID protocols, getting tested. Obviously, if you get tested and you test positive, then you're going to have to miss games. Whereas if you've been vaccinated, I don't even think you have to get tested. All right. So my question is this. If you're a professional athlete, all right, shouldn't you be getting vaccinated if for no other reason to help your team win? If I mean, again, you're having to go through all these protocols. You're maybe missing games because you haven't been vaccinated. I think if you're a professional athlete and these leagues still have all of these different protocols, I think you should get vaccinated. Well, I'm not saying you should be forced to, but you should have the commitment to your job and your team to get vaccinated, just in my opinion.
Well, I know that there's people in this country that don't want to get vaccinated because they think that you know, Bill Gates is going to put a microchip in their body, right? You know what I mean?
I understand.
Okay,
yeah, whatever.
So there's some people like that, but to be honest, and not to make light of, but or even to joke about, I know that in some minority communities, there is a definite trepidation about trusting the government when it comes to vaccinations and being used as sort of tests.
1,000%.
And so that is something that run, you know, and Mike, you and I never, you know, maybe had to hear about it or deal with it within our families because of the color of our skin. So there may be athletes who grew up not trusting that sort of stuff because of things that were done by our government in the past when it comes to minorities. So I think there's part of that. And when you deal in sports, a lot of times we're talking about minority athletes, and that may be kind of a bit of the root cause to people not necessarily jumping on board right away and going, okay, yeah, sure, I'm in there. You know, I did it. Mike, I believe you've been vaccinated, you know. So
I mean, the president and I believe the former president. I think Trump's been vaccinated.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
Yes, but again, I mean, obviously, people say they've been vaccinated. I mean, you don't know. Again, in the African American community specifically,
that wouldn't apply. That wouldn't apply to Major League Baseball because Major League Baseball, I think, is only 8%.
Yeah, well, and I don't know about Latino communities, and Hispanic communities, but there may be a distrust of that sort of stuff. So that may be part of the reason.
Again, I've never had that issue, so I will defer to you on that. But it just seems a bit ridiculous to me that you have this vaccination that will essentially protect you from the virus, protect you from missing games, protect you from a lot of things, and you're not getting it done. I think these athletes and coaches too. We've talked about coaches. I think coaches need to be vaccinated. Nick Saban's what's the word I'm looking for? His public service message is out to get vaccinated. I think all coaches should put those out. I really do. Just my opinion. Of course, I'll probably get grief on the text line from people who are anti-vax, but that's okay. I'm used to it. All right, straight ahead, we're going to get into this Tim Tebow story. Why are people rooting against Tim Tebow to succeed? I understand thinking he isn't going to succeed, but why would you be rooting for him to fail? That's next on Open Mic.
to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Joined, as always, by co-host Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and, of course, Kelly Velez, the smooth operator.
Yes, sir.
Together, we are Open Mic, the troika of sports talk radio excellence in the megalopolis we call home, right here in Central Florida, the 17th biggest Nielsen market in the entire country. Your next chance at $1,000, that's coming up at 8:10 a.m. this morning, so you'll want to make an appointment for that. If you're listening to us right now, you can also watch us on social media. Just go to YouTube, look for the Open Mic live stream, and you can watch us live and in color right now. Big news coming out of Jacksonville yesterday. It's official. Tim Tebow returning to the NFL to reunite with Urban Meyer. Reunited, and it feels so good. Tim Tebow reuniting with Urban Meyer and the Jaguars. Tebow, of course, former Heisman Trophy winner with the Gators, is going to play tight end. He was wearing number 85 at the minicamp yesterday, looked a little bulked up. Obviously, there's a lot of critics when it comes to this move by the Jaguars. I've gone on record as saying I don't think it's going to work. I don't think Tebow, at 34 years old, which is what he will be in August, I just don't think it's going to work at a position he's never played before. Greg McElroy, former quarterback at Alabama, who played with Tebow when Tebow played for the New York Jets 7 or 8 years ago. Greg McElroy, not a big fan of this move either. He is now an analyst on Sirius XM Radio. He does his own radio show. Here's what he said the other day about this move.
Like, everyone says, oh, well, now he's finally doing what he should have done 10 years ago by switching to tight end. Y'all, we were with him in the Jets. I played with they tried to switch him to tight end, and he wasn't good. Like, that's what people don't acknowledge. They're like, oh, well, let's just use him as a Taysom Hill player. Tim ran a 4.8. Taysom Hill runs a 4.4. I mean, they're just two totally different players. I mean, Tim is a good dude, and I hope the best for him. But it's a sideshow. And that's what it will be come training camp time. And I think it kind of undercuts and undermines a little bit of what Urban Meyer's trying to build. I'm not saying it doesn't. He might. Maybe he makes the team. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But it's going to take away from the task at hand, which is trying to put together the most competitive roster in camp. And I bet you there's going to be players, and as someone that's gone through training camp with Tim, there are going to be players in there that are rolling their eyes at the amount of attention the fourth string or fifth string tight end gets. And it's going to piss people off. And as a result, it's going to affect locker room chemistry, just like it did with us at the Jets. Not because anyone had any animosity towards Tim. It's had animosity towards the coverage that Tim receives.
Yeah. And again, I don't disagree with anything Greg McElroy just said there. I really don't. Tim Tebow does get a lot of coverage. Not his fault, but he gets a lot of coverage. We pay attention to Tim Tebow. He gets clicks. He gets, he gets ratings, whatever you want to say. When you talk about Tim Tebow, people react to it positively or negatively. Let's use that as a tease as we head into the blast coming your way. Let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club. You feel that?
I could feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just hook it to my veins!
It's time for the blast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, The Blast brought to you by Frank Gay Services. When you have a plumbing or electrical problem, you need help now. Go to frankgayservices.com. Starting it all off with the open mic thought-provoking daily poll. Are you rooting for or against Tim Tebow to succeed in the NFL comeback as a tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Rooting for or rooting against?
Oh, come on now. Again, I've gone on record as saying I don't think this is going to work. I don't think it's a good idea, but I sure as hell am rooting for him to succeed. What a story it would be. I always root for the story, and I always root for Tim Tebow. However, I do sense there are a lot of people rooting against Tim Tebow. They want him to fail. Why would you want this guy to fail? This is a guy who builds hospitals and orphanages in third world countries. He holds proms worldwide for thousands of special needs kids every year. Again, I don't know why you would root for one of America's leading role models to fail. Tim Tebow has never done anything to get into trouble. He's never done anything to really offend anybody except try his hardest to win games and compete at sports. It's not his fault that he gets all of this exposure. It's our fault.
Yeah, I'm rooting for anybody. You know, I'm rooting for Tebow to be successful in life. I don't want anybody to fail in life. If this were not Tim Tebow, this were, some other guy who'd been out of the league for a long time, I would want him to be successful in life, but I'm also realistic enough to know that, hey, look, that guy last played in the NFL 8 years ago, is not playing the same position he's played in his entire life. He's probably not going to make the team, nor should he honestly get this opportunity.
Right.
And so if that makes it sound like I'm hating on Tim Tebow, then it sounds like I'm hating on Tim Tebow. He's there now. Best of luck to him, but I don't believe in, that this is a real life opportunity or one that was warranted for Tim Tebow to have.
Right.
All right. Let me ask you a question. You said that he shouldn't get this opportunity.
Yeah.
All right. And we all know why he's getting the opportunity, because of Urban Meyer. All right, say your boy Chris Doering, one of your best friends, all right?
Yep.
Chris Doering works for ESPN now.
Mm-hmm.
He's big-time analyst. Say Chris Doering started doing a national, national radio show, all right? Does he might already have a national
he does do a national radio show.
All right, say he started having a national radio show, and his co-host leaves, and ESPN says, why don't you bring in this guy, to come in? And Chris Doering goes, no, there's a guy down in Florida I really like, Adam Reardon.
Yep.
I want him to be my co-host.
Yep.
All right. And you would be getting that opportunity because Chris Doering. What's the matter with that?
Well, no. Here's the major difference.
Okay.
Right now, I'm Kurt Warner. I'm in the Arena League, baby. I'm slinging it around for the Iowa Barnstormers right now here in local talk radio.
Is that what open mic is? We're the Barnstormers.
Well, we're local radio. We're local. The Iowa Barnstormers. That was the name of the team.
That's it. Hey, I'll take that.
And but that's the major difference. If I had been selling mutual funds for the last 7 years and not paying any attention to the world of sports, and he's like, "Hey,
what if you weren't on it? What if you were just taking care of Gramps? All right,
then no. Then
it's the same thing.
No, would I take the opportunity? Would I appreciate the opportunity? Absolutely, no question about that. But would I expect myself to be successful jumping straight into national radio after not being on for 8 years?
I would, because you've been successful before at it. You've been successful. You're a good radio guy.
Yeah,
you don't just lose that. Well, you don't just lose your intellect and your humor and your hot takes. You don't just lose that because you've been taking care of Gramps for a couple of years.
But it's not like Adam is completely switching roles. He's going to a whole different position that he's never played before, Mike.
He's switching roles. He's going national instead of local.
No, that's a great point. It's a great point.
No,
if he asked me to come to ESPN and then all of a sudden do what Frank does here, And that's essentially what they've asked Tebow to do is, hey, come to a new team and be the Frank Lower.
Hey, come on. You're making tight end sound like you have to be a rocket scientist to switch the tight end.
Hey, wait, you're making what Frank does sound like you got to be a rocket scientist.
You do.
No, you got to be really smart. Yeah, Frank's way smarter than me.
Now, 80% of our audience voted for rooting for, which I think is a general consensus.
Yeah, you should root for.
Unless you're Adam Reardon.
Unless you're Adam Reardon. Open mic supplemental poll number 1. Now that the SEC has given each of its teams a $23 million COVID stimulus check, are the other conferences now pressured into following suit? Yes or no?
Oh, you damn right they are. And again, this isn't just free money, as Adam pointed out earlier. This money's going to have to be paid back over a period of years, but it's going to be paid back when hopefully the economy's better and the stadiums are full and the programs are flush with cash again, all right? Right now, they're not flush with cash. For instance, the Gators are getting this $23 million stimulus check from the SEC to cover the cost of the $60 million in lost revenue from last fall when ticket sales and booster contributions plunged due to the pandemic. And I will guarantee you that Florida State's athletics director, what's his name, David Coburn, I will guarantee you David Coburn is on the phone to the ACC probably right now as we speak and is telling the ACC's new commissioner, Jim Phillips, where's our stimmy check? Because we need the $23 million more than the Gators do, all right? So, yes, the SEC's putting pressure, and the other conferences are going to have to respond.
There's no question that conversation's being had around the country right now. Like, hey, what about us? We've also been impacted by COVID. It wasn't just locked down there in the southeastern region of the United States. We could use some help as well. Now, can anybody afford to peel off $23 million? No, good luck there. But I do believe that there are smart enough people and there's enough money in the world of college sports to find it as a loan that will be paid back down the road and should be accomplished.
Absolutely. Now, with 65% of the vote, yes, absolutely, they're putting pressure. Open mic supplemental poll number 2. Should Atlanta Hawks coach Nate McMillan have been fined for stating the obvious that the NBA wants the New York Knicks in the playoffs? Yes or no?
No, absolutely not. That's about as close to a fact as you can have. The Knicks are, despite how bad they've been, despite how bad their ownership is, the Knicks are still one of the marquee franchises in the NBA. They play at the Garden, for crying out loud, the most famous arena in the world. The NBA office is right there in New York. We know the NBA loves having the Knicks in the playoffs, and that's all Nate McMillan said. Why is he getting fined $25,000? Again, to quote Shakespeare, methinks the NBA doth protest too much.
I think he got fined for saying, like, hey, listen, don't be shocked if the Knicks get some calls in our series that help propel them to continue to keep the idea that the NBA likes the idea of the Knicks being in the playoffs. I think we can all agree on that. One thing the NBA won't agree with is, we're gonna tilt the playing field in their favor. And as soon as you start, speaking on that kind of stuff,
Can't do it.
Can't do that.
Can't do it. Now, 79% of the vote went no. He shouldn't have been fined.
Yeah.
Open mic supplemental poll number 3 of the NBA's 3 MVP finalists, folks. Who do you think should win the award? Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, or Nikola Jokic?
I'm going to go Joel Embiid here. The Sixers are the top seed in the Eastern Conference. He's had an incredible year. Best two-way player in the league this year. Plays offense, plays defense. One of the leading scorers in the league. One of the leading rebounders in the league. And, the Sixers have been waiting a long time. They've gone through a bunch of tanking to get to a point where they are finally championship contenders. I'm going to go Joel Embiid on this one.
Anybody but Steph. Because we were talking about Russell Westbrook earlier, and I'm going, dude, if people are speaking on Steph, what about Russell Westbrook and the job he did getting his team to the play-in tournament? You know, I mean,
good point.
And Dame Lillard actually brought something up that, look, I scored 30 a game last year and got my team in as the 8th seed, and that's probably what Steph's going to do. And I didn't win it. And people said, well, you got to get your team to an elevated level to win. And if that's the case, then one of the other two guys. I don't care who you pick.
With actually, it's very close. 44% of the vote. Steph Curry's up right now, but Nikola Jokic has 43% of the vote. So we'll update you guys. We're not because it's Friday.
Embiid averaging 28.5 points and 10.6 rebounds per game.
I think it's Embiid, personally. That's what I think. Open mic supplemental poll number 4. After seeing John Daly playing in the PGA Championship, do you think he looks more like Santa Claus than Tim Allen in the famous Christmas movie? Absolutely yes or no?
Yes. If you haven't seen John Daly play, did you? Again, he is Santa Claus. He is Tim Allen making the metamorphosis from his regular character Kris Kringle to Santa Claus in the movie. All right. So again, John Daly's got this gray beard, fairly long. Of course, he's chubby like he's always been. He's got the rosy cheeks for obvious reasons. So absolutely, John Daly. If they make another one of these Santa Claus movies, he should be the star of it.
By the way, real quick, have you seen his attire when he's playing? Oh, I love it. I love
Loudmouth. Is he still sponsored by Loudmouth clothing? Because they're pretty wild. I saw a picture on 96.9 The Game's Facebook feed, probably a blog post we have up about it, where he's wearing these Terminator glasses.
Yes.
He's wearing these sunglasses. He looks like a badass Santa. Heard you were on the naughty list, Billy.
Got
Instead of a sleigh, he has a chopper.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, in my old neighborhood, it wasn't that hoity-toity of a neighborhood, but it was a nice neighborhood. Every Christmas, I got one of these at Walmart. I got one of these Santa on a Harley inflatables, right?
Yeah.
And it was Santa Claus with sunglasses on a Harley, and my ex-wife would get so embarrassed when I would put that in our front yard.
That's John Daly.
Mike, do you want them to know that you're from Interlaken? Santa on a Harley? Are you serious? Can we not have anything nice?
77% of the vote, man. Absolutely yes. He looks like Tim Allen in Santa Claus. Open mic, would you rather poll? Okay, folks. With every meal, would you rather get a free appetizer or get a free dessert?
We definitely had this one. We definitely.
Yeah, I think we did have this one, but I'm not a big dessert guy. First of all, I like to watch my girlish figure, and I do love appetizers, whether it's the escargot, things like that. I love a good appetizer before the meal. So, and plus, if you get the appetizer, you sort of fill up on that, and you don't have to order as expensive a meal. Sometimes you can just share the meal with your significant other.
Sometimes I find that the appetizers are actually better than the meals. So I can do an app, and then if I got a little room, I'll just double down on that app. That'd be perfect.
1,000%. I agree with both of you, and the whole audience agrees with us as well. 67% of our audience says get a free appetizer. Now that was the blast brought to you by Frank A Services. A live operator is waiting for you, and a licensed plumber is ready to help today with the solution to your problem. Fast, folks. That's the Frank Gay way. FrankAServices.com.
Although I do like me a good cream brulee, man. I love me some cream brulee
I don't
for
know
dessert.
why. It's something about cheesecake for me. Cheesecake does it for me. It's nice.
Yeah. Kelly didn't even get the cream brulee, did he?
I don't think so.
I just thought that you were being sarcastic. Explain it to me real quick.
Wait, cream brulee? It's creme brulee. Okay.
Yes.
So we did get it. Okay, all right.
Okay, you got it.
Mike does that stuff sometimes. He dumbed down the pronunciation.
Yeah.
No, the one I got you on the one day. What was the one that?
What was it?
Oh, I forget what it was, but you really thought it was really pronounced that way. Oh, I
did.
Remember.
Yeah, we'll remember it during the break. All right, straight ahead, we're going to head up to Jacksonville, talk to our good friend Joe Cowart, 1010 XL Radio and friend of Tebow, about Timmy signing with the Jaguars. That's next on Open Mic.
Now, here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter
what he should have done 10 years ago by switching to tight end. Y'all, we were with him in the Jets. They tried to switch him to tight end, and he wasn't good. Like, that's what people don't acknowledge. And they're like, oh, well, they'll just use him as a Taysom Hill player. Tim ran a 4.8. Taysom Hill runs a 4.4. I mean, they're just two totally different players.
Hey, everybody, let's get ready for a thrill. Make some noise for the Jaguars of Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah. They are making some noise up in the bold new city of the South. Tim Tebow signs with the Jaguars officially yesterday. You just heard Greg McElroy, former Alabama quarterback, teammate of Tim Tebow's with the New York Jets, saying, hey, we tried him at tight end 8 years ago, and he wasn't very good at it. Let's head up to Jacksonville, talk to our good friend Joe Cowart, 1010XL Radio up in Jax. You can hit up JoJo on Twitter at 1010XL Joe C. Joe C., how are you this morning?
Mikey, I'm doing great. I'm wondering, angry McElroy, how did he work out a quarterback with the Jets, too, by the way? I can't.
Spicy. Huh. All right, Joe. You know I'm a big fan of Timothy Richard Tebow, but I've gone on record as saying I don't really like this idea. I don't think it's going to work, but I am rooting like hell for Tebow to succeed. But there are a lot of people, and you know this, Joe. You've been around Tebow a long time. You know the family. Why do people root against Tebow, who's done nothing but good throughout his life?
There's certain people that you can compare him to. People out there listening can probably think of people that all of a sudden everyone had to unite against. And Timmy is easily one of the more polarizing figures in sport, and for that matter,
but
in
why?
culture right now.
But why?
I don't know, honestly. Think about it, Mike. You got to have, if you think of the great stories that we enjoy in sports, and you'll see it from the social media world or whatever, you'll see this just unbelievable story where this guy climbs from nowhere to the highest point on the mountain and everyone celebrates it. Timmy was celebrated like that, and then it just flipped on him. I think people just said, you know what, we're Tebow'd out. We're tired of it. It's just one of those deals. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player that we've seen in a long, long time, yet there's a lot of hate for LeBron. Tim takes it to an even higher level than that because so many people are interested in him and love him. Therefore, there have to be people that don't love him and aren't interested in him.
All right, what's been the reaction of Jaguars fans? Obviously, Tim's from Jacksonville. He's a cult figure at the University of Florida. What's been the reaction of Jaguars fans in general, do you think?
Like, we've done a couple of poll questions, and believe it or not, I'm a little surprised because maybe Duval and Jaguar Nation back in the day despised the idea of Tim Tebow trying to be shoved down their throat. They didn't want to see it. And, heck, we can go back and think of the last couple of guys that have been in charge here in Jacksonville. Gene Smith passes over Tim Tebow, goes with Tyson Alualu, who's had a decent career but was never really worthy of the top 10 pick that he was for Jacksonville going back to 2010. And then now I think more and more of the Jaguar fans with the Urban Meyer introduction to the football team, they're thinking, you know what, maybe Timmy could be something for them. So the poll basically is still saying, you know what, A, I don't think it'll work. B, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal either way if it works or not. And then half of them, you know, the rest of the group that's out there are rooting for him to succeed, kind of like what you're saying. I just think that Urban and what he's done to infuse excitement into the franchise is making more people think positively about Tim Tebow instead of negatively. Remember, Dave Caldwell was the GM here, and the question was asked back in 2012 when he was taking over, hey, what do you think about Tim Tebow coming? And he goes, not even if he's released. And that was that famous line from him for a long time because they didn't want him. And then ultimately now everything's changed. RPO, much more successful. Timmy type of football, much more acceptable in the game. So we'll see whether it works. I have no idea whether it'll work or not, but I don't mind the experiment in the month of May at all.
All right, so one of the other points that Greg McElroy made was, you know, if Tebow makes the 53-man roster and, you know, for whatever reason, there are players in the locker room who don't think he deserves to be on the roster. He's not one of the 53 best. That will backfire. I mean, people say Tebow will be great for the locker room, but wouldn't that be bad for the locker room if that happened?
Yeah, we have Leon Searcy on our midday show on XL Primetime on 1010, and he's a Hall of Famer in the college game and a Pro Bowler in the NFL game, and he basically said, look, if you can earn the respect of your teammates in the locker room by playing hard, minding your own business, not being a distraction, doing what you're supposed to do, you will earn the respect of them. But if they do think that you're basically the favorite of the head coach, then yeah, it can end up being a very big negative. And I don't think Timmy's going to come in and teach anyone how to be a better football player. He might motivate them in other ways, but I think you're right. I think Leon is right that you have to earn the respect of your teammates. And he said every one of them will give him a chance right now. But once you do get to the 53, he told the joke this past week that Tony Baselli was considered Tom Coughlin's son, the way the rest of the locker room viewed him, because he was his absolute favorite. Well, guess what? Tony Baselli was also a Pro Bowler. He kicked ass at tackle, and so he had the respect of his teammates. So Tim's got to go in there and earn that before he can get anything else going.
Joe Cowart, 1010 XL Radio up in Jacksonville. Joe, again, he signed as a tight end, but what sort of role do you, again, if he were to make the team, what sort of role do you foresee?
Well, everyone wants to say, oh, gosh, on fourth down, fourth and goal at the one, they're going to put him in there and he's going to score, and everyone's going to want him to play quarterback instead of Trevor and all this kind of stuff. That's just way over the top right now, at least from what I can gather. What I understand from the people that are around it, they've worked him out several times. They like, the shape that he's in, 255. He's hulking, huge, and I can see him, Mikey, as a bruising version of a McCaffrey, a Kamara. Certainly not as dynamic as those dudes. I'm not putting him in that camp right now, but more of an H-back, more of a hybrid. He's not necessarily going to be an inline blocker. He's 6'3". You got to be 6'6" in some change right now to be able to stand in line and block some of these guys coming off the edge. But he can be a wrinkle player, 3 or 4 little design formations that he could excel in. And again, this is me with a little bit of a pipe dream and a cold Bud Light picturing this, but I think that those are the types of things that we're looking at. And you got to give Urban Meyer credit for at least trying to think out of the box and do some different things. And I think in the NFL game, we've enjoyed that here of late. We've seen a lot of different things from these coaches. And the question was posed yesterday on our show, if Andy Reid goes and gets a big, hulking, bruising guy like this and puts him in his offense, people aren't going to raise their eyebrow. They're going to say, hey, Andy Reid's up to something. That's how I think Urban's trying to look at this thing.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think if Andy Reid had signed Tim Tebow, there wouldn't be nearly as much controversy. Yeah. I think one of the reasons people are ripping this is because it's Urban Meyer. And there are a lot of people, quite frankly, Joe, I realize he's beloved in Jacksonville right now, but nationwide, there are a lot of people who don't like Urban Meyer.
And you know what else I've learned, Mikey? There are NFL snobs out there. We in the South, we have the SEC snob. You can perfectly picture him right now. But there are NFL snobs that think that a guy like Urban, while successful in the college game, is going to have to come in, take his licks, and realize this ain't college. This is not Ohio State versus Chattanooga. You got to come in here and you got to play every single Sunday. So you are right. They're either betting against him and betting against Tim, and then there's probably a little bit of what you said, just a little bit of I don't like that guy in some fans or some analysts trying to forecast whether he's going to succeed or not. And by the way, add to that, there's a little bit of a look and opinion of the Jaguars is they don't even count in our NFL world. So there's a lot of huge hurdles to get over for this football team. Jacksonville as a whole, Urban as an NFL coach, Timmy trying to change positions, 7 years after he left the game.
Well, whatever the case may be, the Jaguars are certainly relevant now. They're interesting. They've been one of the most uninteresting teams in the league for decades now. I think they are the most interesting team in the league right now, Joe Cowart.
Yeah, I agree. And there's, I always would say, Mikey, that we were the best off-season team because that's the only time that everyone was paying attention. You had hope, and then when you got into the regular season, you started to lose, and everyone just kind of took an apathetic point of view. But right now, if you think of the cycle of hiring, Urban Meyer was the best available. I firmly believe that, especially in today's NFL, and what he's been able to do. Obviously, bringing Trevor Lawrence in, and the attention of Timmy does take the attention off of Trev. Trev just needs to go out there and do his thing and be the star that everyone hopes he's going to be. There are a lot of good things happening right now, even the Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne combo. There's a lot of good things. Obviously, it's all got to translate in September with some W's, and hopefully that'll happen.
Joe Coward, check him out, 1010 XL Radio up in Jacksonville. You can also hit him up on Twitter